What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Gudo here, 2 to base. I'm going to cover 5 rogue decks from the Galactic Championships that got into the top 64 of the event. Huge shout out to the team. We had a few team members out there representing 2 to base. We couldn't quite make it to day 2, but nonetheless, we had a blast there. I wasn't there, but the team had a blast. It was a great event. I know there was some controversy around the prize wall stuff, but overall with the actual main event, it was all good, you know, as expected. So awesome job by FFG for putting on a huge event. Obviously there's a lot of opportunities with some of the prize stuff and side events, but today we're going to talk a little bit about something different. I know there's already been a lot of videos out on the Tarkin Town, Kyle Tarkin Town deck from Bothan Network, so shout out to them for brewing up this hot deck. But I want to highlight some of the rogue decks that kind of crept into the top 64 a little bit. Some of them slightly expected, but there's a couple surprises here that I don't think a few people have been talking about. And I'm here to represent the other underdogs, so we'll take a look at it. First, before we go on, guys, if you are enjoying the content, we're back at it. We had a little break after the new set came out. Please hit that subscribe. That really helps grow the channel. And also, shout out to the Haven Games for sponsoring this video. So, let's get into it. The first one we'll talk about is the obvious one, that the Han Solo Tarkin Town list. That is probably the most rogue deck of the event. It also made top 8. So, for this event, he got 7th. Let's pull it up. So most of us have probably looked at this already, or if you were watching Galactic Championship stream, you know, you saw this, you're definitely looking at the list like, okay, what is he doing that's gotten him to the top 8? And when they interviewed the guy, I can't remember his name. It's by Magog29. Don't know his real name, but super cool looking deck. I mean, it's virtually all space, except for obviously having that C3PO, the best draw engine in the game right now, I think, outside of Kiadi Mundi Force. But it's got the Plo Koons, the Poes. The Mining Guild TIE Fighters is really good in here too. You got a lot of 1-drops. So he's got a little bit of card draw with the Mining Guild. He's got the Boshek for drawing, C3PO. So he's just drawing so many options. And when you have all these 1-drops in your hand, you quickly get to like that 4 to 6 units out all of a sudden. You know, like before you know it, turn 2, turn 3, they've got a board flooded. All these upgrade pilots to go onto the ships to buff them up a little bit. Very interesting that he's not running Surprise Strike. I mean, he does have a lot of reach damage, like with the Cassians from the Smuggle Row. Daring Raids in here to finish off maybe some space units, or just do more damage straight to the base. He does have 3 swoop downs to deal with ground. I mean, you know, maybe they get like a real problematic healer. Like, I think swoop down, my main target would be like Yaddles, Yodas, anything that's healing to stop their goal. I have been playing a lot of Kaz Blue. Some locals know I've been running that deck pretty hard the last couple weeks. I'm considering it for a PQ, but I just love the idea of going space, dodging the ground. You can almost ignore everything that's going on in the ground. In this deck, they have a little bit of options. You know, Plo Koon makes a lot of sense because you're gonna have coordinate almost all the time, and so using him as a 3-of makes sense. Poe is also very good right now. It's just really good to do 8 damage to the base when you swing with him, and you're gonna have so many cards in hand, you're almost always gonna be able to hit all 3 options for Poe's discard ability. So the on attack, you're able to discard up to 3 cards to deal 2 damage to a unit or base, defeat an upgrade, or have an opponent discard a card from their hand. So that helps. There's a splash of hand hate with the jam comms and that Poe ability, so that's really cool. And he's got a 3rd jam comms in the side. Never Tell Me the Odds is an interesting card. I wonder how crazy that hit for. So discard 3 cards from an opponent's deck and 3 cards from your deck. Deal damage to a unit equal to the number of cards with an odd cost discarded this way. And this deck has basically outside of C3PO, that's it. C3PO is the only even cost card I'm looking at, unless I'm missing one. So super good. That card's probably doing a lot of work. Again, it's sort of like their answer to ground units. If they've got problematic ground units, you know, they're able to use it. It's a 3 cost, pretty much kill a lot of early turn units. So I like that card a lot. A little bit of tempo. It goes really good with Tarkin Town as well. So as well as Daring Raid. So Daring Raid is probably in there to trigger off that Tarkin Town, as well as Never Tell Me the Odds, or just being able to kill problematic units that are on the ground that are maybe healing or delaying their end game, which is just sprint to the end. The Radiant 7 is pretty interesting. Jedi Starfighter disabling in the side, that all makes sense. Just more gas and space. Upgrade hate. Chewie's in the side, out of aspect, which is pretty interesting. You know, maybe you're piloting him for a little bit more late game, so you know that might be good into control for late game, so we can have some of his ships stick a little easier, and their only answer would be like, you know, no glory or something like that. And there's no main bamboozle here, and there's just one in the sideboard, which I think is like very interesting. I mean, this deck's probably trying to go so fast that so wide and fast that really you don't really care if they're playing lightsabers on their units. But man, I find that to be very interesting. You get to the top 8, you're only playing 1 bamboozle. I see the 2 disabling fangs, so maybe he's thinking like, oh, my 3 extra upgrade hate options are, you know, 2 fangs and 1 bamboozle, and he's putting those together plus the Poe. So there's definitely ways to handle some upgrades, but yeah, not going all in on it by any means, and just kind of topping off a lot of cards that are in the deck. And then the one of the Radiant 7 is probably just to have a little bit of top end. So man, this thing is hot. I want to build it. I think I'm just missing a couple cards is why I couldn't build it right away. Anyway, I'm stoked to try this out. I'm probably going to build it out for the next couple weeks at locals. I want to stick to a space deck. So you know, I've just been in this mood of wanting to play something somewhat rogue and somewhat off meta that can sneak around on most decks, but still, you know, have a couple of challenges. You can't beat every single deck just perfectly. There's no perfect deck that has perfect matchups into everything. But space right now is a really good place to go. Force throw does hurt a little bit, but in a deck like this where most of your cards are low cost, you can just discard a 1-cost card. It kind of dissolves the force throw strength. Now, this deck doesn't want to go tall. It sure can. With the Millennium Falcon get out and push, you can stack upgrades on it with Han Solo and Boshek. And obviously your leader, but yeah, I mean, force throw, you know, if they force throw themselves, that's totally fine. Like, it is what it is. If they force throw a crate and you've put your leader on a ship and it dies, I mean, it is what it is, but at least you have all these other 1-drops and 2-drops to have out on the board where you're still putting out damage. You know, maybe that's why there's no surprise strike, because you have so many units doing all this little chip damage that you don't have to worry about that. So I like this. Next is the Kaz Blue. This one got, let's see, what did he get? I guess we got 61st. Let's see, somewhere down here. 61st Kaz Blue list. So let's take a look at that. This should be it. Yep. So Kaz Blue, my list is running Security Complex, so I'm shielding my usually Falcon or whatever I'm flipping Kaz onto. It's been pretty good, but I feel like I've needed that extra 5 health. Like, there's been a few games recently where I've just skimmed past winning and I've got only like 1 or 2 HP left. I wonder if covering the wing is better with 30 HP and you're just kind of playing this 2-cost unit or 2-cost event to shield and create a unit. So there's the other side. Like, maybe 30 HP is better because I can covering the wing and you're not really losing out on on a unit here, because you know, for 2 cost, you're only really trying to get to the 6 resource turn, end the game by then, but with every resource matters. And I would hate to have to give up, you know, shielding a unit. Then I'm missing out on 3 more ships to play, but obviously he's got enough here. This list is going all space. My build has like Ogdos in the main, Fugitive Wookiee 3/3 on the ground as a 2-drop in the main, which hasn't been amazing, but putting a shield on it with a hotshot blaster is pretty good. And you get to negate the bounty of when it dies, you exhaust a unit. But with this list, top 64 at the at GC, he's got some R2D2 pilots. I'm afraid to play those because I feel like you just empty your hand so quick, but I mean, nonetheless, 0 cost 1/1 is very good. It also can help put some things out of Tarkin Town range. The Corporate Defense Shuttle is like a must-have. The Wolfpack Escort, I'm trying to think of like what is he bouncing? And maybe he's just bouncing something with damage on it. I mean, obviously you could bounce Plo Koon, so you can keep ambushing, so that's pretty cool. I like that for that, but I think it's just in there as like a solid 1-drop 2/1. The cargo frigate, the Dakar cargo frigate, 6/7 5 cost ship, has been amazing in Kaz. I'm at a 2 of right now. I might go up to 3 just because that's sort of the top end of the deck. You've got pretty much everything that Kaz plays. It's got the N1 Starfighter 2 cost ship. That's a 3/2 with no text, but just solid starting stats. I like that a lot. The Dagger Squadron pilot, so you're paying 1 for a 2/1. It's essentially just like a little buff that's permanent, and I love that. Also, opening with 2/1 drops against control is really good, so just having more options to flood the board and space things out is really good with this. My deck is more 2, 3, 4, 5 drops, so just spreading things out with this, I think, is where I need to be with my list. This is literally all space except for Plo Koon. If you count the pilots that can be put on ground, sure, but as just strictly ground units, we just have Plo Koon. So, interesting run by this guy. He's got the surprise strike, so he's pushing damage. Attack run here on the bottom left is my favorite little spice. So attack with 2 space units. So it's like I wouldn't call it a rebel assault because you're not getting the buff with it. But you sure are, you know, action cheating, making sure you're able to claim more often, and just having that 1 extra resource and being able to swing twice helps you get to the end goal without them answering one of your units, which is what this deck can struggle with. But yeah, I think it's hot. I like it. The other one is also so the Kaz Tarkin Town I think got 21st. Let me go up, see the Kaz Tarkin Town. He ended up at 28th. So Inset Tone, whoever that is, Inset Tone, Inset Stone, I don't know how to say it. That person ran Kaz Tarkin Town. So looking at the list, the Frisk is interesting as an upgrade. It looks like we're going all in on having plenty of upgrades. He's got the one of the BB-8, which is very interesting. I wonder. I mean, I guess maybe to somewhat later in the game be able to ready something. You know, you can play BB-8 for 3 and then ready Kaz again off of the Millennium Falcon. Or can you do Millennium Falcon? No, but you could do it on. No, yeah, you can't. You can whatever Kaz is on, you can ready again with BB-8. I'm pretty sure. So, love that in here. Also works on the Fireball, obviously. So, couple resistance options. The black one is in here. I love the Anakin's Interceptor. Just, you know, often 25 HP base. They're gonna get you to 15 at some point, and you're able to push more damage. So it's got the obvious Trench Run, Heroic Sack combination, no Surprise Strike, and I was on this same like basically set up when I was playing Kaz 30 HP at Beatle. I was the only Kaz in the field that weekend. I was on the 3 trench and then the 3 heroic sack and no surprise strike because of 4 cause I believe in. Outside of that card, you're obviously running surprise strike. So, but here he's got the Daring Raid, the Stolen AT Hauler, and I think that's it for non-heroic cards to hit that 4 of on the 4 cause I believe in. And even that's only 5 cards out of your whole 50 card deck. I mean, the math there is in your favor to still hit 4 on the 4 cause, but you just kind of rolling dice there. But interesting on Daring Raid, I think because Tarkin Town, that makes sense. So you have the direct option to hit that turn 1 unit, kill it, and set them back. So it's obviously why you have Daring Raid over something like Surprise Strike as a non-heroic option. But yeah, solid list. Kaz is just going super fast, so this guy probably just went space and just blazed through all these decks. Data Vault hasn't been as popular, so if you're doing math and you're like, okay, I just got to get to 28 or 25, which is what's been the most popular of bases over the course of the event, you're able to do that very easily with Trench Run. I mean, you could easily swing for like 13 with this deck in one swing. So, I mean, I could see how he blitzed through most of decks. I'm interested to see what he lost against. Then we got the Previs blue deck. This one was really crazy. It's essentially a hard control list from what I'm seeing, with some really trippy cards like Caught in the Crossfire at the 6 cost slot. Choose 2 enemy units in the same arena. Each of those units deals damage equal to its power to each other. I mean, very interesting card. I mean, sure, he made it work, you know. And what did he rank, actually? Let's call that out. Where was he? He was pretty up there, I think. Not too far off. Where's the Previsla? Previsla, so he got 49th with the Previsla. Was that the highest? I thought somebody got even higher. Or I might be wrong. No, not yet. 49th with Previsla though. Like top 64 with Previsla is pretty insane. Obviously you're excuse me. You're catching people off guard. I love the I Am Your Father in here. Got 1 Anakin Champion of Mortis in here. He's running just a normal 30 HP base. Pershings, everything that like hard control wants to do, and then it's triggering Previsla with things like I Am Your Father, strategic analysis. I think those are the real like card draw options. Obviously Pershing, and yeah, I mean hard removal, Avenger at the top end, but you're doing a lot of damage through, you know, Previs's ability, I guess. So. And what's his ability again? Hold on, let me look up his ability. Previsla. Am I spelling it right? Swoo. Let's see. I can't remember it. I think it's burn damage, right? Isn't it like... Oh, it's 2 units. So deal damage to a unit equal to the number of cards you've drawn this phase. I wonder how many times he actually used the ability. Like, I mean... Do you count? So I guess you count the 1 card you draw at the beginning of the phase and then anything additional. So you could potentially like pay 1 and deal 4 damage probably quite often. It all depends on I Am Your Father hitting, I think. So if he hits I Am Your Father and he draws 3 cards plus the 1 you started with in the beginning of the turn, then you're talking about 4 damage for paying 1 resource. I don't know. He made it this far, obviously, and I think it was just maybe catching people off guard. I'm wondering like where's, and he's got mission briefing in here, so he has a lot to draw for himself. He's got mission briefing, strategic analysis, Dr. Pershing, and that's pretty much it. Really interesting deck. The sideboard is restock, so maybe there's a mill plan. I think that's really all this is a mill deck. I guess, and like I said, it kind of reminds me of Boss Blue, but with a little twist. Repairs in here. There's 1 in the main, 1 in the sideboard to heal up a little bit. Another Nebula to board wipe more card draw with the mission briefing, another Avenger, Annihilator, Bounty. He's basically one-ofing a lot of the stuff that's already in the deck. So, and I'm like wondering when you would like when does he, what's his sideboard plan against what deck? I'm interested to see like his thought process. Maybe we can like find out how to interview this guy about this deck, because I don't know like much of the tech except just remove things and maybe mill your opponent out. So very interesting. And I think I have one more deck to look at today. Let's, oh yes, the 12th place Mother Talzin deck. Yellow though. So the yellow version, I mean, pretty much like it's on, you know, yellow for space. He gets to play Cad Banes and Anakins and the new Vader with the Sheehan Flurry. Everything else is pretty much just early force, turn on the forced units like the Secret of Sage, Sister, Kylo Ren. So that's all like early game turn on the force. Shin Hati, obviously. Hidden Shield 4/2 is amazing. I wish this list had the Legacy run. I think that could have spiced it up. Instead of the Geonosis Patrol Fighter, I'd probably run the Legacy run, just to be able to kill so many things. I mean, or do a lot of damage spread out, you know? Maybe it's not good in this deck. I don't know. But it would be kind of cool to play that in this deck. But yeah, 3 Sheehan Flurry to get off the Vader ambush. Kind of sucks because you have to play it on your 7 resource turn. So, you know, there's a debate of like, is Darth Vader that good behind curve? Which, you know, instead of playing it for 6 with ECL, is it still worth playing with, you know, like a Timely or Sheehan Flurry? I think it's still worth it. I mean, think of what's happening on the 7 resource turn. There's probably some big units that you don't want to deal with. And you could just kill 2 of them with Vader if you're able, if the damage adds up. And then in this deck, you're also able to play the Hotshot Blasters, and then he's got 2 constructed lightsabers as well. So you're able to buff up a couple units. The Waylay is pretty interesting. Sneak Attack, you know, I guess that's a way you could sneak attack Darth Vader as well. So maybe that's a trick. But how does that work? You still end up paying 7. So 2. Yeah. So you actually play Vader for 5 then, I guess. With sneak attack, which is pretty cool. He dies, but you know, you're still able to get Vader out actually very early. So sneak attack on the new Vader could probably clear out, you know, 2 big problem units pretty easily. So sideboard, he's got the Lurking Ties, 2 Chariots, which sounds like a main deck card to me. He actually, I missed the Kiadi-Mundis in here too. He's got the 2 Kiadi-Mundis, 2 Bamboozle. I like his sideboard. 3 Electromagnetic Pulse, so probably Vader, you know. Very good card against Vader. Deal 2 damage and exhaust the unit, and then Liberated by Darkness. Use the Force. It's basically Change of Heart, but for 5. So use the Force, take control of a non-leader unit. At the start of the regroup phase, its owner takes control of it. I love that card in there. You know, it's just a cheaper version of Change of Heart, which, you know, ahead 1 turn is pretty damn good. A lot of things for 5 you could steal. You could steal their Poe with this. You know, a lot of these problem units that they're putting lightsabers on early game, you could use it Liberated by Darkness. That might even be like worthy of having in the main deck, just to have like a late game trickery option. But 2 Shatterpoint in the main just to remove whatever they want. And yeah, some P-38s just to do some more work against probably Vader or some space decks. Love these lists. I love the spice. Yeah, so there's a few decks out there that we still probably need to look at that are still worthy of just putting up against these meta decks. It's interesting because although Han was the obvious like target deck, it still got 2 into the top 8, but didn't quite get past that. You know, getting to the end of the finish line, it was 2 Force decks, or well, 2 Legends of the Force leaders, 1 Force deck, 1 Tarkin Town, obviously. The Kyle deck, again, I'll mention it again, obviously the surprise deck of the event and the breakout deck for sure. That's a good way to put it. But yeah, guys, a lot to talk about. We are still doing a recap of GC with some of the team members, so I'm planning to do that video another day. I did want to get something out, so I was thinking of doing a little recap of some rogue decks as opposed to just the top 8, which I know is really, you know, awesome for those decks, but I'm here for the underdogs. I'm here for the underdogs who want to try out these other rogue decks and surprise people. I think it's a good plan in an open meta right now to play what you want. Play something spicy. That's what I've been on a Kaz Blue. I'll probably end up and land on a Talzin deck. I'm going to look into yellow to see if that's worthy of, you know, going up against these Force Throw decks, but it's pretty hard. Yeah, though, really excited for the OP season coming up. PQ's coming up. We've got PQ in a month. We've got a PQ actually on the 9th here in August in Orlando, so coming up really close at the Collective. And then, of course, Coliseum of Comics on the 30th at the end of the month. So we've got 2 this month. Most of the team will be at both of them, but we'll have team members at either of the event. So we're trying to put up numbers and get some points so we can maybe go to Galactics next season. So, all right, guys. That's all I have for you today. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that subscribe, and I hope you have a great day.